Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Okay, let me quickly share this message on my screen. So yesterday we discussed regarding the business partner, and we also understood how business partner came into picture and why S4 HANA introduced business partner. Then we also saw what are the different levels of business partner we have: the general data, the company code data, and the purchase of data, and what are the important fields in those. Then we saw in purchase of data, there was a field called GR-based invoice verification. We saw what is the importance of that, saying that we have 3-way match and 2-way match, which is used for the matching of PO, GR, and invoice. In 3-way match, these three objects will get matched. In 2-way match, you will match only the PO and the IR. Then we discussed regarding the business partner. What are the categories of business partner we have? We can create the business partner based on the person, organization, and the group. And we discussed regarding two terminologies, which is BP grouping and the vendor account group. So today we'll be discussing a bit regarding the BP grouping and vendor account group. Why are we using BP grouping and vendor account group? Okay. Now, yesterday we also saw how to create a business partner and how to extend that business partner to the vendor. So when we was creating a business partner and converting it to vendor, by system defaultly picked the vendor account group by itself. The reason behind why the vendor account group was picked automatically and it was not changeable is the mapping was done in the backend. So BP grouping is created individually and the vendor account group is created individually and they have their own number ranges assigned to it. So how we have the number range assigned for the material master, in the same way we are going to assign the number range for the BP grouping and the vendor account group. Based on those number ranges, the numbers are coming automatically into the system. And based on the mapping we have between vendor account group and the business partner grouping, whenever we create the business partner using a particular business partner group and convert them to the vendor, in the backend, what is the vendor account group we have mapped to the BP grouping, that vendor account group will automatically come into picture in the front end. Okay. Then second thing is the number range. So in Material Master, we also saw that number range are of two types. One is internal and external. So you all guys know what is internal number range and external number range. Internal number range means system is going to give the number automatically by itself. The external number range is nothing but you are going to enter the number manually. So here for BP grouping, you will have one set of number range. For vendor account group, also you will have one set of number range. Now, let me discuss something regarding the number range, which is important here. Number range. As I mentioned, for BP grouping, you will have one set of number range. And for vendor account group, you will have one set of number range. Okay. Now, yesterday when we created the BP grouping, we had a number called 39755 something. I don't remember. We take this as an example. And when we converted this BP into vendor account group, the number was different. The number was different. Why this was different and why can't we keep this number same? We have an option to keep this number same. That is what even the business recommends. And even SAP usually recommends in case of business partner, depending on the segregation of the vendors, you create the BP grouping code. And based on the segregation of the vendors, you can also create the vendor account group. For example, if you're creating 4 BP grouping, if your business has a requirement of segregating the business partners into four different groups, also create 4 vendor account group according to the or respective to the BP grouping, so that system will have a synchronization between BP grouping and the vendor account group. Okay, so how are we going to segregate the vendors and the BP grouping? So BP grouping or the vendor account group can be segregated in different formats based on the business requirement. Like it can be segregated based on the place of the vendors. For example, if you're having a domestic vendor, if you're having import vendors, if you have third-party vendors, based on these categories, business might require to divide the vendors. There is one requirement, and they can also go with the material type. All the raw material vendors should be segregated in one category. All the service vendors should be categorized into one account, and all the freight vendors should be type, and assume that this is a material group. Okay, if you are going with this set of configuration, if you are going to have 4 BP grouping, you should also have 4 vendor account group. If you're going with this configuration, then you need this concept of having segregating the vendor based on the categories. Okay. And now coming to the number range. So what SAP says, when you're having 4 business partner grouping and you're creating 4 vendor account groups, as I mentioned, SAP always recommends keep a one-on-one relationship. SAP recommends always keep one-on-one relationship. Okay, and coming to the number range also, system or SAP says when you're having one-on-one relationship, keep the BP grouping and the vendor account group numbers same. Right? So as I mentioned yesterday, we tried to create the BP and converted that to vendor. So this was the number. It was different. But SAP says always keep same number. If you're using business partner grouping, for example, your number is getting created as 1002, then also get the vendor account group created with 002. So your business partner is 1002 and your vendor also should be 1002. This is what SAP recommends. However, the data is synchronized based on the mapping what we have in the backend. In the number range terminology also, let it be in sync. Okay, so that whenever you're creating a business partner and getting that converted to supplier, you don't want to remember 2 numbers. If you remember supplier code or the BP code, that is sufficient. Okay, to get that achieved, to make this number same, you have 3 prerequisites which you need to follow. So first prerequisite is whenever you're creating a number range for vendor account group, it should be external. So vendor account group number range should be external. Why external? Because, for example, you are creating a business partner, for example, 0001, and you're converting this to vendor. So if you're keeping same number, automatically your vendor also will be 0001. Right? Now you are creating another business partner 0002, and you're not converting this to vendor, you're converting to customer. So customer will become 0002. Now again you're creating 0003 business partner, and you're converting it to business vendor now. So it will always create this serial number. So if you have 0001, system will recommend 0002, but your business partner is 003, who is already consumed for customer. So if you keep the number range external, what happens? System will create 0003. So if you keep internal, system will take the number as 0002, which will not become same. If you keep external, system will take 0003 as an external number range. So that is the reason. The first point, you need to have the vendor account group external. Okay. Second thing, your BP grouping number and vendor account group number should be same. For example, if you're creating a number range of 100 to 500 for BP grouping, for vendor account group also you should have 100 to 500, or you should have any number in between this. There is no condition that you should always have 100 to 500. For example, if you're creating 100 to 500, in vendor account group, you can also have 200 to 400. But the number what you're selecting for vendor account group should be in between the BP grouping number range. That is the second condition. Okay. The third condition. The third condition, when you're mapping BP grouping and vendor account group, there is an option called same number that needs to be enabled. Okay. If you want to have the BP number and the vendor number same, then you have three prerequisites. First prerequisite is whenever vendor account group number range should be external, BP grouping number should be, and vendor account number should be same. When you're mapping BP grouping and vendor account group, it should always have the same number enabled. Okay. If you're doing these two prerequisites, the first two prerequisites, and if you're not checking this box as same number, then the number range functionality will not work. So you need to have all these three prerequisites to be done, or you need to design a system in such a way that three steps should be followed in order, so that the BP number will be equal to the supplier number. Otherwise, if you want to keep BP number and vendor account group number different, you don't want to follow these three prerequisites. Okay, so these are the important prerequisites for the number range. First point, we will be doing a BP grouping and vendor account group. We will do the mapping and we will follow this prerequisite. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today. We will do convert them to vendor using our data. Okay, before I go into system, any questions?
So what is the third-party vendor?
Sorry,
What is third-party vendor? You have written domestic.
third-party vendor is nothing but you will order something and vendor will directly deliver it to the other person. That is third-party vendor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, why we want to grouping vendor account and business partner number ranges same, sir?
Tell me why you are grouping material master. Why we have material type? For what reason we have the material type?
The same attributes of same attributes in the material or grouping, sir.
No, I'm asking why are we creating the material type and grouping the materials? For what reason?
Grouping the material, it's easily to mapping.
Sorry. Easily for?
Mapping.
No. So we are grouping the material master into material type because to segregate the materials and tell that this is a category of this material, and
Okay.
to differently calculate the revenue also. If you want to see the revenue of raw material, you can see. If you want to see the revenue of finished material, you can see. And it is also useful for your reporting purpose. Second thing. And you can have the different data for different material types. For finished material, you can have different views.
Okay.
For raw material, you can have different views. Raw material, you can say system that I'll always purchase raw material from external. Finished material, you can always tell that you will manufacture internally. So based on the different types of material, you can have different attributes of it. In the same way, when you are segregating the vendors, you can differentiate saying that this vendor is completely a domestic vendor. He is only a part of domestic vendors. This category or this set of vendors are from import vendors. So that the reporting becomes simple, the attributes become different. So I will tell that for domestic vendors, I don't want this field to be activated. For import vendors, I want this field to be mandatory. For import, I need import terms mandatory. For domestic, I don't want mandatory. So these type of things can be handled and managed through different vendor account groups if you're segregating it. If you're not segregating, then for all the vendors, you will have single attributes. That is the reason we are segregating. That is completely business decision and also a consultant suggestion, what he can give to the business.
Good morning, Venkatesh. Hello. For assets, how will we do in which material type category? Assets.
Assets are of consumables.
Okay. And the depreciation value will be calculated accordingly.
Yes.
Means, can you tell me the material category type?
Material category type will be assets.
A
So
non-stock?
it is a non-stock material. Yeah, it is a consumable. For sure, it is a non-stock material.
Okay.
And assets are not included or categorized in material management. We are not handling the assets. So assets are a part of finance. So finance are going to create them as an assets in system, and they're going to give a value to the assets. And the depreciation is also calculated based on their values. We are just segregating the assets into a consumables, but creating the asset and doing a depreciation of the value is done by finance.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Sir, one more doubt. It's basic, sir.
Yes.
And sir, is it possible for grouping multiple number ranges, sir, or multiple groups?
You cannot group the number ranges. You can create the number ranges individually for every group, and you can assign those.
Oh. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. If no questions, then we will do the configuration based on the discussion what we had. So the configuration what we will be doing is, first thing, as I mentioned, we will create the BP grouping. Sorry, I mentioned vendor account group, not an issue. So vendor account group. Second thing, create the BP grouping. Then create the number range for vendor account group. Create the number range for BP grouping. And do the mapping of BP grouping. And vendor account group. So these are the things which we'll be doing today. So we will be creating the vendor account group. We will create the BP grouping and create the number range for both vendor account group and the BP grouping. And we will map the BP grouping and vendor account group. So when we are doing this, so let us follow the three prerequisites what I defined, so that the number which are getting generated for BP and the vendor, let it be same. Okay. So first, let me create the vendor account group. Let me reshare my screen with SAP. Your screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. To do the configuration, as you all guys know, we need to go to the transaction SPRO. I go to SPRO. Where there is an ABAP dump. Okay. I go to reference IMG. Here, for business partner configuration, the nodes are very, very important. The nodes are a bit huge. You need to remember the nodes are, because I go into one node and from there I keep on navigating to the 4 to 5 nodes. So you should be careful while you see the nodes, and while you start practicing vendor account group, please make the notes for the nodes, because it is a huge nodes. So I go to the logistics general. Under logistics general, we did the configuration of material master. In the same place, you have the configuration of the business partner. So open this business partner. You will find suppliers. Open suppliers. Under suppliers, you have this control. Open the control. Here you will be able to see account group. So this is the vendor account group. So let me repeat the node. First, you need to go to the logistics general. Let me go back. First, you need to go to the logistics general. Open the logistics general. Here you will be able to see the business partner. So open the business partner and suppliers. Click on suppliers. Here you will see the control. Under control, you will see the define account group and field selection. So execute this. So here we will be creating the vendor account group. So it is just a new entry. Click on new entry. Name the vendor account group what you need to name. For example, I keep B15. Okay, I give the name, for example, this is for batch 15 vendor account group. And here you have the number range. As of now, it is freezed out. I'll tell you from where to assign the number range. From here, you will not be able to assign the number range. Okay. Then you have the option called one-time vendor here. This one-time account is nothing but using this account, you will be able to create the vendor only once. Or you can take in this way. Using this vendor account group, if you can create multiple vendors, but any vendor which you're creating under this vendor account group category, you can use that vendor only for one single purchase. Okay, this requirement comes, for example, take an example that you are working in an automobile industry and you have the service industry. You are completely based on service. So what happens in your business? So whenever the vehicle gets breakdown, so they might contact your service and you will give the roadside assistance to them. So you send the technician to the place where the vehicle has been breakdown. You'll ask the service technician to repair it on the spot. So when he is repairing the vehicle on the spot, he needs some spare parts or he needs some materials or tools for repair. So he will carry the tools with him or he will carry the spare parts with him based on the issue customer has explained. But immediately, if there is any other material required, he cannot come back to the warehouse again and take the material. So what happens? They will search the nearby vendor who can supply that material and they will go and purchase from that vendor. When he is doing this, the local shop which is in the market or local shop which is in the roadside is not our vendor. What is vendor? Vendor is nothing but you are going to see which product he is going to supply. You will do the negotiation, you will do the planning, you will fix the price and then create the vendor and then start business with him. But here, the technician or the service technician is going to the shop directly, walking to the shop directly and buying the material. So we don't know that the technician will be walking again to the same shop or not. In that case, if every service technician is going for local shops per day for at least for 2 to 3 shops, and I have 20 technicians with me, so it will become 60 vendors per day. If I want to create 60 vendors per day, and for 1 month it is going to be 1,800 vendors. So that is the reason I don't want to keep my vendor created and keep on stocking the vendors. That is the reason SAP has given an option called one-time vendor. So I can create the vendor once. If I enable this one-time vendor, one-time account, I'll be able to create vendors. The system will not stop me. But you will be able to create only one purchase order using that vendor. As soon as you create one purchase order for that vendor, then you will not be able to use that vendor anymore. So that is this one-time vendor option. If I enable this one-time vendor, then you will have this skip address check. This is applicable only for one-time vendor. When you're creating the vendor one time or when you're creating the account one time, system is not bothering or system is not checking the address because it is a local shop. I don't want to collect the complete address. I don't want to collect the documentation with him. I don't want to do all those things because I'm purchasing only once. So if I skip this address, system will not ask me any address or any registration documents, nothing. So that is the functionality of this one-time vendor. As of now, I'll deactivate this because I'm not going to use that. Okay. Then coming to the data retention level. So where are we going to maintain the data? Is it a vendor or it is a plant level? Are we going to maintain the vendor data at the plant level or are we going to maintain the data at the vendor level? Normally, what business does is they will maintain the data at the vendor level, not at the plant level. Because if we maintain the data at the plant level, give me a second. If we maintain the data at the plant level, each and every plant can have different data into the vendor, but that is not preferred. That is the reason always the system will prefer to keep the data at the vendor level, and it is still the business decision where to keep the data. Okay. Then you have this field selection. We have seen this field selection in Material Master also. So which field to make mandatory, which field to make suppress, or which field to make non-mandatory like optional, that can be done here. So I go to general data. So here, as I mentioned before, we have general data, company code level data, and the purchase organization data. These are the BP levels, business partner levels. So in general data, yesterday we created a business partner. You will see all the address, communication, bank details, all those things. If you want to make anything mandatory, everything will be an optional entry. If you want to make anything mandatory, you can mark it as a required entry. For example, I make search term as mandatory. Okay. And if you click on this next group, it will take you to the next group in the list. So communication. So you can do everything in a single page. We don't want to create the field selection group. We don't want to take the table and field, come here, make it suppress or make it required entry, then take this field reference group and put it in the material group. We are not doing that. Everything is set up in a single page. So in Material Master, it was a bit tricky. So you need to do all those things and take the field reference group and put it in the material type. But here, it is not the case. For each and every vendor account group, you can have different field selections. Okay. And if I click on next, I'll move to the next page. Okay. In the same way, if I go to company code data, here you will have all the things related to the company code data. In the company code data, reconciliation account is very important. You have previous account number. Okay. In the same way, I can move further. Terms of payment, payment block, payment method. Okay, you can make which all are required, which are optional here. So I made search term as mandatory. Let's check that. Okay. Then coming to the partner determination. This partner determination I'll explain at the end of the session. So let me park this aside. Okay, any questions here?
Sir, one-time account, you are maintaining any other material master for one-time account or no need to, sir?
One-time account, as I mentioned, that is completely based on business decision. If business needs, if business have a need, then we will create it. And we are not going to maintain at material master level. We are going to maintain at the vendor level.
Sir, and one more question. Yeah, any other control, sir, for a one-time account controlling for it? I'm working for automobile sector. This much of allowable for one monthly. They're setting there, I mean, any other settings for one-time account for monthly basis, sir? Any control system they are maintaining for industry? Or this much of vendor only available? We spend the money for 1 month or like that, sir. You don't understand. You got it, my point?
Yeah, if I understood correctly, you don't have any option of creating multiple vendors. You can create multiple vendors for one-time account,
Okay.
one-time account vendor account group,
Hmm.
but you will be able to use the vendor only once. You can create how many vendors you require, but you can use only once. Only one purchase order allowed for one vendor.
No, I'm asking amount payment
That
wise,
is,
payment.
payment wise, there is no any option. You can create any amount of purchase order. There is no restriction of the purchase order.
So 1 month we are using number of n number of vendor, right? For any organization.
Yeah, that is what I'm telling. That depends on the business. If you are going to purchase with that vendor only once, and if you're not going to purchase in future, then create it under one-time account. If you're going to purchase the material in future with that vendor, then don't create that vendor under one-time account.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, in field status, purchasing data, purchasing sub-range, purchasing plant, that is all for vendor.
Yes, this all of a vendor. This general data is only for the general information of business partner, and company code data, purchase of data, and purchasing plan, sub-range, everything are for vendor.
So whenever we are creating a business partner, there's no need to mark the field entries for this.
No.
Okay, thank you.
When you're creating a business partner, you will not have these or anything in the picture.
Okay.
Supplier as well as vendor, same only, sir.
Sorry?
Supplier and vendor.
Yeah, both are same.
Thank you, sir.
Any
Hello.
more questions?
The partner schema purchase organization, this partner determination procedure, I guess.
Yes, I'll take that in some time. So after I complete all the configuration, there
Oh,
is an explanation. I need to explain what is partner determination, and then I'll take this schema there.
okay.
Any more questions? Okay. So we are done with the vendor account group. So I'll keep the screen open here, and I'll open another screen. And I'll create the BP grouping. To create the BP grouping, I go to the option called cross application component. Under cross application component, I will have SAP business partner. It is here. Under SAP business partner, I have this business partner, basic settings. Under basic settings, I have an option called number ranges and grouping. So I'll open this. Here I have defined grouping. So here I'll be creating the BP grouping. BP grouping is just a new entry. I'm not going to define any fields here or define any rules for BP grouping. It is just a new entry. Okay. I click on new entry and name the business partner grouping and the name. And save. As of now, I'm not going to define any number range because I've not created it. Okay, now my BP grouping is created. So my two things are done. First one is creating the vendor account group, and second thing is creating the BP grouping. So I've created both. Now let me create the number ranges. So to create the number range and to follow the three prerequisites, I want both the screen to be open. So here I have my vendor account group screen open. Here you can see supplier. Okay. And you can see here the business partner. So this is BP grouping. This is vendor account grouping. So to create the number range for supplier account group or vendor account group, here you have the option called define number ranges for supplier master records. So I execute this and I go to intervals or intervals. Okay, the same screen I should be opening it in the BP grouping also. Define number ranges, intervals. So keep the both screen open. Here you can see both the screens are open, this and this. And if you follow my cursor now, this screen is for business partner. This screen is for vendor. So what is the first prerequisite? First prerequisite is you need to create the vendor account group number range, but it should be external. First prerequisite. Second prerequisite is the number what you're creating for vendor and the number what you're creating for BP grouping should always be same. Right? For example, let me take this as an example now. Here you have from 4,000 to 13,200. Let me open an Excel. Here you need to play with numbers a bit. So 4,000. Normally in press system, when you get from SAP, you will not have any number ranges created. You will have 0 number ranges. So it will be easier to create. So it is 13,200. So the vendor account group is created. For example, the vendor account group is created for 4,000 to 13,200. This is for vendor. And if I go to the business partner, also search if there is any 4,000 starting with 4,000. If you have it here. So you have this 4,000 to 4,999. So this will work because this number range. This is BP, yeah. 4,000 and 4,999. This is a BP grouping. What I said, the number of BP grouping and the vendor account group should be same. First thing, these both are same, but these both are not same. And BP grouping number, the ending number should be a part of vendor account group. So from 4,000, 13,000 to 200. The vendor account group is also falling from 4,000 to 4,999 because you have the range till 13,000. So you can go till 4,999. So this will work. So you can use this both. But the second prerequisite is working fine. But the first prerequisite is not fine for me because it is not an external number range. it is an internal number range. If it is an internal number range, what happens? System will not take the same number. System will still take the different number. So let me search for an external number range. So here you have all the external number range. So let me see if anything matches there. So I have this 7,000 to 7,000, 70,000 to 70,100. Let me see if I have 70,000 here. Yes, I have it here. Let me uncheck this. Now let me change it. So 70,000 to 70,100. Okay. My vendor account group is 70,000 to 70,100. It is same, exactly the same. So these both are same. My second prerequisite is satisfied and it is having an external tick. So even my first prerequisite is satisfied. So both are satisfied and the third prerequisite, I'll take it later on. So if first two prerequisites are fine, then go ahead and assign those number to the business partner and the vendor. So for example, this is, I'll make it 200. Let me make this also 200. Okay. It is overlapping with the D1. One second. SR. Okay. Now I'm using 70,001 to 70,200. I'll make this also as same. This also overlapping with D1. D1 is this. D1 is freezed out. One second. I have to play a bit with number ranges. Let me select some other number. Give me a second. Okay. Let me share my screen back. So I selected my another number range, which is 81,000 to 81,200. I'm taking this. And I'm also taking, this is overlapping to one. Let me change this. Okay. I'm taking this D1 81,000 to 82,000. And here also I'm taking this 81,000 to 82,000. My first criteria is vendor account group. This should be external. So this is vendor and vendor account group is external. My first criteria or my first prerequisite is matching. And the second prerequisite is both the number range should be same. So it is starting from 81,000 to 82,000. And even here it is starting from 81,000 to 82,000. So my second prerequisite is also working fine. So third prerequisite, as I mentioned, I'll keep it aside now. The third prerequisite, I'll show it in some time. So if two prerequisites are working fine, then go ahead and assign this number range to your vendor account group and VP grouping. To assign, I go one step back. Here I have a number range. And the grouping what I created is B15. Put the number here and see. In the same way, go to the BP grouping. In the BP grouping also, find your BP grouping. And assign the number range here. And see. So finding the number range will take some time for you guys. So try to find this number range same as, or if not, you can use the D2 number range for both vendor account group and VP grouping. Okay. So first thing, we need to create the vendor account group. Second thing, we need to create the BP grouping. And third thing is create the number range for both and check the two prerequisite is working fine or not. If the two prerequisites is working fine, then go ahead and assign the number range to your vendor account group and VP grouping. Okay. Any questions in number ranges?
So in real scenario, so whenever we are creating a number range for BP group and vendor account number, it will be a fresh number, right? Not the one which we have created for material group.
Yes, it will be a fresh number.
Sir, we have to select any other number range or fresh number?
Yeah, if it is, you can select any other number range which is suiting your requirement. If you don't find any number range, then select the number range what I have selected.
Any number we have to select, but vendor and the BP are same only. Prerequisite will be same, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, if no questions, so let me do the last config, which is the mapping. To do the mapping, let me go back and start from beginning. So I go to SPRO. Go to SAP reference IMG. Go to cross application component. And this is bit big node. So go to cross application component. And under cross application component, you will find some option called master data synchronization. So let me, here you have the master data synchronization. Open this. Under this, you will find customer vendor integration. So you need to make a note of this later on when you are watching the videos next time. And here, under customer vendor integration, open the business partner settings. Settings for vendor integration. Assign the keys. And here you will have define number assignment from BP to vendor. So execute this. So here you need to do the mapping. So I'll click on new entries. This grouping is nothing but the BP grouping. So BP grouping is B15. And vendor account group is also B15. So I am fulfilling my third prerequisite here, saying that enabling the same number checkbox. So I'm telling system that whenever I'm creating a BP and extending it to vendor, I need to have the same number to be enabled. So I'm enabling this and I'm going to save this. So there are some issues, SRR. Okay, let me check if my entry is created or not. Okay, I don't have it. So let me click on new entry, put my BP grouping, put my vendor account group, and enable this same number and save. Okay. Now if I go and create the vendor, I will have the same number getting created. So these are the configurations which you need to do for the business partner. First thing is you need to create the vendor account group. Second thing is you need to create the BP grouping, create the number range for both vendor account group and BP grouping, and do the mapping for those. Okay, so these are the configurations and we are done with the configuration. So if we go and create the business partner first, using the business partner grouping B15, and you will be able to see the vendor account group B15 getting freezed out, and it will automatically get fetched. So from where the vendor account group is getting fetched automatically from this node. Okay. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, then we will create the business partner. Before we create the business partner, let me also explain regarding this partner determination. What is this partner determination? And do the configuration for partner determination and then move forward. Okay, let me share my screen back with my presentation. My one more terminology is partner determination. So what is this partner determination? The partner determination is nothing but if supplier is having different branches all over the world or all over India, in that case, for example, you have a vendor and your vendor head office is in Bangalore. Okay. But he does not have any manufacturing site in Bangalore. He is going to manufacture the material from some other state. So, manufacturing. I call it as good supply. He is going to supply the goods from Mumbai. He is having a manufacturing plant there and he is going to supply the goods from there. Okay. Now, one more thing, my invoicing team, my supplier invoicing team or accounts team is sitting in Delhi. That I will call it as invoicing party. My invoicing party is sitting at Delhi. Okay, so in this case, my head office is in Bangalore. The goods are coming from Mumbai. The invoice is coming from Delhi, and the ordering address is nothing but my procurement team, supplier procurement team, or supplier sales team. I will call it as ordering address. Is sitting in Chennai. So suppliers team, this is not applicable for all the suppliers, but it is applicable for some suppliers. So some suppliers are telling that I'm going to have head office in one place and I'll be supplying the goods from another place. An invoice will come from one place and the ordering address, I'll receive the PO in one place. So this is like, for example, if I take an Amazon as an example. So let me take this as a person. So I use I'll place an order. I'll place an order and I am buyer. So I'm placing an order to Amazon. So I'm buyer for Amazon. I'm telling I don't want these goods. I will ask to deliver to another address. So I'll ask to deliver it to my friend address. So my friend will receive it. So this is my delivery address. This is my delivery address. I will not receive it. My friend will receive it. And I'll tell that I'll not pay the amount. I'll ask some other person to pay the amount. So my second person will pay for this order. So here you are seeing ship to. So Amazon will ship the material to this person. Amazon will bill the material to this person, but Amazon will create a purchase order to this person. So this is in the perspective of sales. This is the perspective of sales. When you are buying a material, your supplier can tell so many things. I can ship to your place and I can send the bill to this place. So this is in the perspective of sales. If you speak in the perspective of procurement or purchase, so supplier will tell you place the order. I'll receive the purchase order in Chennai. I'll process my purchase order in Chennai and I'll forward this purchase order to this invoicing party and goods supplier. And I'll ask my Mumbai branch to manufacture the material. They will manufacturing it and they will send it from Mumbai to you. And my invoicing party will check the material which is delivered and the PO which is received. And this team will create the invoice and send it to you. So the activities which are there in procurement are happening from different places. Okay, so this is called as a partner determination. So if vendor is operating from different places all over the world or all over India, then the partner determination comes into picture. Now you have different categories of places of vendor here. The address is completely different. The head office address is in Bangalore, the good supplier address is in Mumbai. So invoicing party address is in Delhi and ordering address is in Chennai. So if you want to have this scenario, then you need to create 4 different vendors with 4 address. With 4 address and create one vendor with a head office name. Create one vendor with head office address and assign these 3 vendors under that, saying that these 3 vendors are also part of this vendor. Okay, so this is how it works. So how to show this in system? To show this in system, you have some set of configuration which we need to do. That is called as the partner determination. So let me share my screen back with SAP. So the partner determination is in the another node, which is in SPRO, go to SPRO, reference IMG. You will be able to see the partner determination in the material management. So let this get open. I think it is getting terminated. So here I'll see the material management. Under material management, go to purchasing. Under purchasing, you will see the partner determination. I can see source determination. Where is the partner determination? 1 second, I'm searching it. Here. You have the partner determination here. So do the configuration for partner determination. One more thing I forgot to mention. Let me add that also here. For head office, we have a naming convention called VN. For good supplier, we have GS. For invoicing party, we have PI. And for ordering address, we have OA. So these are called as the partner roles. VN is a head office. GS is good supplier. PI is the invoicing party. And OA is the ordering address. So you will be able to see same names here under the partner roles. Here. You can see OA. If I see OA, it is named as ordering address. If I enter GS, it is named as good supplier. If I enter VN, that is named as head office. So these are the standard things. So OA, VN, GS, PI, all are standard. Okay. Now I go one step back. I'm not going to do anything here. And I have this option called define permissible partner roles for account group. The account group, what I created, I need to assign those to my partner functions. So I want VN. Okay. I want OA. I want GS. I want PI. So I'll put my account group P15. So when you get a warning, click on enter. The warning will get cleared and saved. So what I did now, I assigned my account group, vendor account group to the different partner roles. This is the first config for the partner. After this, I need to create my partner schema. So I go to partners settings in supplier. So here I'll create a schema. So I click on new entry. I put P15. Okay, and save it. Whenever you do some changes, save it and then move forward. Partner schema is done. So select this and go to partner function and add the same partner roles what we added before. So I'll add VN, OA, GS, and the PI. So now here you have an option called mandatory. Should we have this as mandatory? I'll say all should be mandatory. And no change. No change is nothing but whenever you're creating a vendor, that vendor is acting as same place, goods supplier is same, invoicing party is same, everything is same. Then you mention no change. If you have any requirement of maintaining the different vendor there, then you can disable this and save. Okay. And the last configuration, what we need to do is we need to assign this to your account groups. You can assign it from here itself, or you can go to your vendor account group and assign there also. You have two nodes. So let me go from there and do it. Go to logistics general, business partner, supplier, account group. And here, B50. So if I go here you have vendor schema. So assign it here. Okay, and save. Normally we will assign it only at purchase order level, not at the plant level. If you are going to have this vendor sub-range or plant element ticked, then maintain it for here also. Okay, and I save this. I'm going back. So now my configuration for partner determination also is also done. So now if I go and create my business partner, I will see everything working fine. Let me check that. So I go to business partner. The transaction is BP. As yesterday, I'll click on organization. I'll select the grouping as B15. I'll fill the mandatory things. Okay, the address, the language. If you want to fill the telephone number, fax, email ID, anything, you can fill. I'm saving the basic data. Now I go to change mode. I'm extending this to the vendor. So I go to FLVN00. When I go to FLVN00, I made the search term as mandatory. You can see the search term is mandatory now. So I put B15 and go to vendor general data. You can see here the B15 of vendor account group is coming automatically. I'm not putting it manually. And this is freezed out. I'll not be able to change. And my business partner number is 81000 and my vendor number is also 81000. So my three criterias are matching and the number which is getting generated for business partner and the vendor account group all are same. So this is the configuration what you need to do in the backend. Now I go to company code. I put my company code, reconciliation account, and save. Now we also need to check the partner determination configuration what we have done. That you will be able to see in FLVN01. So I go to purchasing, put the purchase organization, currency, and if I go to partner functions here you will be able to see all the partner functions which are created and you can see all the number. Now, if you feel that this vendor is going to supply the goods from different place, remove this number and put the new vendor number from where he is going to supply. Okay. So this is how you are going to do the configuration for vendor account and how we are going to create the vendor. Okay. Any questions?
So can you repeat that last part which you told now of this vendor?
Okay. So assume that this vendor is supplying goods from different place. So I will create a new vendor with new address with the same name. So vendor name will be same, but address will be different. So let me do that once again. Let me go to I'll have the same number, but I'll say it is Mumbai. And Mumbai is in Maharashtra. Language is English. But I'll save this and I'll extend this to just the company code. Okay, I'll take this. So this is my vendor with Mumbai address. So I'll put this number here and tell system that from this place, the supplier is going to deliver you the goods. So I'm ordering the material for this address, for Bangalore address, but the materials are going to get delivered from my Mumbai address. So this is how I need to assign my different places of vendor stating what activity is doing from that place. If he is not doing any activity from that place, if he is supplying the material from same address, then maintain the same number. If he is going to supply the goods from different address, then create that address as a new vendor and assign that number here. So that in one vendor, you will have 4 vendors. One will be the head office, one will be all the parts.
And while creating this partner function itself, we had 2 checkbox, no sir. One is change and one is same number.
Yes, if you have no change, then this will get freezed out. You will not be able to change it. That means that number is going to be non-changeable. So that type of supplier is not going to have different places. He's going to have only one place.
Okay, but if you have given we have not checked out for this option, but we come here and realize this vendor has a different address, like different locations. So then we can change here, sir, or else we need to go and unselect it.
You need to go back and change the configuration to no change. Sorry, I'll check the no change.
Okay.
Sir, you mean to say amendment of the
Yes,
business
amendment of a config. So you need to raise a change request and do the amendment in the config.
Okay. Sir, one more question. The partner determination can also be a client, right? Whom we are selling the material.
No, whom you are selling the material is a customer, not a vendor.
No, sir. Partner means it's a business partner, right?
Yes, business partner. But
So
in business partner, you have 2 categories. One is the supplier and one is the customer.
Yes.
For customer, for supplier, you will have ordering address, goods supplier, all those things. But for customer, you will have ship to, bill to, sold to.
Yes.
You will have different categories there. So that set of configuration is different.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, then we will wrap up here. And we will meet. Okay, sorry. I forgot to mention next week I'll be traveling and we will not be having session next week because I'm traveling to the client location for the go live activities. I'll not be available for 1 week. So if possible, I'll connect with you guys for 30 minutes on Saturday and Sunday to discuss if you have any questions on these two topics like enterprise structure, material master, and the business partner. I'll update you in the group, and if possible, I'll share the updated schedule based on the timelines. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Fine. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.